Hey, there we go. Let's bring that in. I'm back. I was in Italy for 5 days or something like that, and here I am again. I was in Sardinia. I didn't really have a whole lot of, I guess you could say, I guess you could say good beer. That was a little bit of a struggle. I did a little bit of Instagram on it, and I found some weird things. Like Moretti has a American IPA, like Moretti, like that's like the jaundiced looking green man. They're getting onto the market. Some of the other very typical brands out there were moving towards craft, but Sardinia itself had, from what I can tell, one local beer that was just, again, like a Heineken copy. Nothing to write home about, so no reviews. All right, but I am back, and my name is Steve Jaguar. This is BeerNative. This is a BeerNative beer review. Let's go. You can see the message below. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share with your friends. Stick it on Twitter. Stick it on a Reddit. This is how people get to know about what good beer is. And this is an interesting beer that I'll be doing today. This is, call it a sellout, call it what you will. This is a BrewDog beer, and I got it at a BrewDog bar in Camden. And because I'd been told that if you spot it or you see it somewhere, you should give it a try. And I think I was told this a while ago. It's not new, but it's a little bit difficult to find. They don't brew it that often. And I think if you can find it, rare beers, it's always good to give it a shot. Here it is. So they just put that on the overlay. Paradox Grain Barrel-Aged Imperial Stout by BrewDog. 13% Imperial. So I guess I better get some food immediately after this. Let's get it out of the fridge. It's behind me. Feels good. Feels like it's at the right temperature, at least. It's not too cold, not too hot. Which is, someone once said that the percentage of the beer is about how cold it should be. It's a 13%. It should be at 13 degrees. I think that's a little extreme in this case. But it's not 13, but it's not 6 or 5. It's probably about 9, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9. I think that's quite good for an Imperial Stout. Now, a little bit of information on Paradox Grain itself as a beer. How long has it been barrel aged? I don't know that. I think I've heard it's like a year and a half or something like that in whiskey barrels, which is fascinating. You can take a look at the can. I do like the art. I'm gonna have to manually focus here because I've changed my camera setup for better or for worse because I've been playing with how to do things with it, but I'll have to set it back. I actually really like the art. The gold on black. Schrodinger Stout. Oh, I didn't see that. That's quite cool. But yeah, a little bit of extra information in there. You don't need to see much more than that. Let me make sure that it says over here Imperial Stout. Yeah. So it's interesting just in terms of, I don't know, BrewDog makes waves for better or for worse, but they do brew, I think some really great innovative beers. I'm gonna say it. So let's pop it and let's get rid of things that kind of irritate us, like tickers. And let's give it a whiff. Kind of coffee-ish. I dare say I'm getting whiskey, but that could be bias, right? But let's pour it out and take a look. I'm using a wine glass because I actually really like stouts in wine glasses. You can get it to the maximum. You can amplify the smell. Very black. Like there's no seeing through that. That is dark. Nice little brown head sticking around. And all I really like, the whiskey aspect of this is solid. It's obvious, and it's heavy on the nose right now. Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite good. I'm so overwhelmed, I would say, by the whiskey element of this, and maybe a little bit of a roastiness that I'm gonna have to dive in and taste it to see if there's anything behind that, or whether this is just whiskey boozy. And I'm expecting it to be boozy, so I'll be really impressed if this has like some kind of impressive mouthfeel and I don't get any booze off of it. Dangerous, but I will be impressed. Let's give it a go. Right. Well, I can honestly tell you that I'm definitely getting a booziness off of it. I was going to be impressed if it somehow glided past. It reminds me a little bit of, what's it called, a Boilermaker? If you drop a shot of Irish whiskey into a Guinness, and then I think you're supposed to chug the Guinness at that point. It's all a bad idea. It does taste like I would say a pretty good stout with some whiskey dropped in it. Let me just have another go here, because that was a stunning first sip that kind of crossed the palate, straight up into my brain, out my nose. So let me just, now that I've acclimatized to the situation. Okay, I gotta slow down, because this is a proper sipper. I don't want to say it's like a port, but it is a little bit like a port. It's a really, I had a Sam Adams, what they called it, like a triple bock. I think it was like about 1990, I'd say 8. I actually went to Boston, and they had it in a little whiskey barrel that was behind the bar, and you turned a little wood tap and this bit came out, and it was like a proper dark, dank, roasted malt whiskey flavor. And I haven't really had a whole lot since then. That it, at the time, I thought, why does this exist? But I think that was about 18%. This is 13. I gotta take one more sip before I make a call. I heard this was really good. All right, I'm putting it down. Worth making clear, I like whiskey. I like the subtleties of it. I like when they can somehow invoke flavors of caramel and vanilla. The peatiness is like a whole different branch or fork in the road when you're trying whiskeys. Different people have different things that they like, love, and hate. This, it's not a peaty whiskey, but it is a little, I want to say Highlandy. Where is Ellon? That would be a good answer. Then I'd probably work out why it tastes that way and where the whiskey barrels come from. So my at a glance is that, do I like it? It's interesting. Will I seek it out and buy it again? I'm going to say no, but I'm happy I've had the experience. I think it's about a 7.5 for me. I don't know where it is on other people's scoring rankings, but I think some of the other more Imperial Stouts at BrewDog are more up my street. Just a little tinkering on the side here. I found an article about it, actually, which is from 2018, which that's interesting. So this has been around for quite some time. So I probably was told about it more than 4 years ago. And if I bring that up right now, just to provide a bit of context, you see the information about it. Yeah. Citrus peel, vanilla. Okay, so I was right about there being, when you get a bit of vanilla, really not a lot. Definitely coffee, so I'm getting a bit of that roastiness. Is there coffee actually in it? I think definitely rye, grain, and how long has it been in the barrels? Barrels are cool. There you go. 500. There we go. 575 days. It's right there. That's a long time. I mean, it's pretty impressive. It must be expensive to make. It's a good question of how much did I pay for it? Pouring like India ink. It's bitter. Cacao. Oh, I didn't say raisin, but I'm going to credit that. There's a lot of, there we go. A nod to Dog F. So some of those other Imperial Stouts that they've produced, it's not grabbing me as hard as some of the other ones were. So it's interesting, because I guess this is a 13.5. I have a 13.0. So this is a slightly different variation. You would hope that the whole idea behind this stuff is that they provide improvements. They make it better year on year if they're going to keep redoing it. I don't know if you can get it at BrewDog now. Let's take a look. Paradox Uncle Duke. Well, there is one. No, not available. Well, I'm sure you can buy it somewhere. I'm sure it's very expensive. One last look to see if I can find somewhere you can buy it to give you a feel for what it would cost. Schrodinger Stout, barrel aged. Yeah, chocolate and coffee, but I don't see it. It's harsh. So I'm going to stick with my 7.5 for now. All right, so there you go. That's what I'm going to give it when I stick it on tap. It's going to be below 4. I'll find out what it's at right now. Do I think you should buy it? If you find it in a cabinet or on tap somewhere, get a third. It's an interesting experience. That would be my recommendation. I don't think it's worth seeking out, and sure as heck don't buy a 6-pack of it. That's overkill. I would imagine it's probably going to cost you around £8 to buy one, because I don't know. I really should have paid attention to what I paid for it, because I bought it in a batch of a whole bunch of others. I found it for £5. Oh, that's quite good. Okay, I found it at Mr. Hop for £5.30. So if you can get it for £5.30, I think it's worth. That's reasonable value for money just for the experiment, and really to see what they've done, the kind of whiskey infusion that the barrel provides. Otherwise, though, well done on BrewDog at creating something weird. I think I'm going to hold back on the. I would give it a good uniqueness score. I would give it a reasonable accuracy score. That'll creep it up towards a 4, maybe a 3.8. But you can catch all that scoring afterwards if you check out the notes below on YouTube after I stop this live show and look at a bit more information on that I'm about to put on Untappd. Follow me on Untappd. I'm Steve Giguere, like you can see below here, but all one word. I like having friends on Untappd because I'm very interested to see what you drink, because it inspires me. This is how I figure out what new reviews are, right? And that's about it. So hope you enjoyed that. I rambled a little bit too long. Apologies for that. I just got back, so my brain's not really functioning properly. But otherwise, keep drinking good beer. And if you want to contact me, you can do that. You can just write to, you see the BeerNative down there below, my Twitter handle. I also am at BeerNative.tv. You can just write to me at hello@BeerNative.tv and say, Steve, please review this, or try this, or I'm tempted to buy this, but I don't want to spend the money on it. I want you to spend the money on it and tell me if it's any good first. Do that. Otherwise, that's it. Steve out.